Another season of Love Live Nijigasaki aired last April, and it had some cool new songs I wanted to talk about. Spoilers for the entire Niji anime and Love Live All-Stars. But if you're watching this, you've probably seen the show already. Eutopia is incredible. An instant favorite. There's so much I like about this music video. First off, it's a banger of a song. Credit for the composition goes to Mia, aka composers Luna and Toshikazu Kodono. The instrumental of the song feels layered, balancing the synthetic dance instruments with the more natural sounding ones like the acoustic guitar. Akina Hamoto also did a good job with the vocals, seamlessly switching between Japanese, English, and Mandarin. The visuals for Eutopia are also great. I like the cold feeling the stage gives, with it taking place in a dark environment, illuminated by lanterns and fish tanks. Water is a frequent motif in this song, appearing both in the main stage and the fantasy cutaways. My guess is that the fish tanks and underwater scenes represent the isolated nature of how Lansu's living her life at the start of the show. Fish tanks have an outside barrier, making them something you look at but don't interact with. I also find it amusing that she has little dragons swimming around in some of her fish tanks. Another unnecessary detail I noticed is that the stage uses fish floating in the air as a sort of particle effect during the chorus. A lot of Love Live songs use objects like flower petals as particles, but here it's fish. I like the costume. It's a simpler design than her initial Queendom outfit, but it retains the same Chinese and military design themes. I personally like the way this one looks more. I also just like the big pink coat she has in the song. I like the camera work a lot in this song. I'm a fan of how it moves around the stage, especially during the chorus when it moves between Lansu's different holograms. The choreography is pretty good too. I like this frame of her with the tiger. It's a little silly, but I like it. The flash transition afterwards back to the stage was also a neat one. There's lots of glamour shots, like her swinging on this pole in the Tokyo cruise ship and her bathing in the Tokyo Hilton Royal Garden Suite in Odaiba, which she apparently lives in for most of the second season. While writing the script, I went on a tangent estimating how much it would cost for her to stay there from the start of September to the end of November. Multiplying the 116,000 yen booking rate from a random weekday by 90 days, it would roughly be a total of 10.5 million yen, or nearly 70,000 US dollars. So obviously, these shots are saying she's rich. And along with Lansu projecting images of herself on stage, they imply a degree of narcissism. Scratch that, declare a degree of narcissism. She goes as far as saying she's perfect and that the world revolves around her. It's a persona. She's not actually that arrogantly confident. She's kind of like Nico in the way that Nico declares herself to be this amazing idol as a sort of cover story, except that Lansu has the talent and gravitas to pull it off better. Going back to how I described the fish tanks as being something you look at but don't interact with, Lansu initially tries to be a pedestal, an amazing performer that people love, except that she keeps everyone at an arm's length, receiving praise but not connecting with people. She's an awkward girl that doesn't know how to connect with people, so she doesn't try. She self-isolates due to her experience of friends abandoning her in the past. One cool shot probably representing this is when the room full of mannequins blink out of existence when Lansu enters. There's a sense of loneliness through the music video, cages being a recurring motif. This shot here is an example of how she feels. Fortunately, there's also this other scene of her aquarium cage draining, foreshadowing her eventual change of heart. The show establishes early on that Lansu does want to be friends with the rest of the cast, but she can't bring herself to take the final step. Lansu's story is written differently in the anime compared to the All-Stars mobile game. She comes across as more of a villain in All-Stars before her redemption. While having a villain in Niji could have been an interesting idea, fans generally hated the storyline for how it played out in All-Stars. Lansu was greatly toned down in the anime adaptation, more than I was expecting, almost certainly in response to the All-Stars backlash. Despite the story potential of having an antagonist, I think this was the right decision to make the most people happy. Her character went from being hated by most fans to being liked by most fans, from what I've seen. Lansu's arc has a common thread with the other Rebirth girls. Lansu wants to make friends, but her fears hold her back. Shiorika wants to be a school idol, but her fears hold her back. And Mia wants to sing and perform on stage, but her fears hold her back. All three of them are forgoing their desires out of self-protection. It's a realistic barrier for these characters, and a nice way to establish a common through line between them. But more on all that later. Anyway, Eutopia is hype. This is one of my favorite music videos. From anything. Technically not an insert song, but I still wanted to talk about it, along with the OP. It's a good follow-up to Near Sky Neo Map. While the primary focus of the ED is the characters growing flowers together, the part in the preview is what stood out to me the most. You following along behind the others, the shot of you with her back to the camera, and then the view of all her friends, like she's looking back at them. This might just be me, it gives the vibes of a farewell. It's not one, since nobody graduated and there's more Niji anime content coming in the future. The sequence of shots just gave me a melancholic vibe in an otherwise cheerful ED. It edges out the Sunshine openings, becoming my new favorite OP from the franchise, because it's such a fun opening. I like the instrumental. The drums are great, making Colorful Dreams Colorful Smiles arguably the most energetic feeling Love Live opening. I also liked the piano backing at the start of the first verse. Speaking of the piano, when I was talking about Nijiro Passions in my Season 1 video, I mentioned that Yu was sitting barefoot in a pool of water. I commented that I thought it was meant to represent something, but I wasn't sure what it was at the time. This opening begins with Yu fully underwater, playing a piano while sitting in the same chair as the first opening. I think I get it now. In Season 1, Yu started to dip her toes into her new dream of being a composer. In Season 2, she starts studying music and writing songs, fully immersing herself in her new passion. After the title card, the characters are introduced, starting with Ayumu. I like the scene of her stepping forward to join the rest of the idols on stage. She had a lot of personal growth in the anime, going from someone who initially was hesitant to even try being an idol in the first place to becoming a role model and an inspiration for others. After that, Mia is introduced with her eating a hamburger, followed by her sitting in front of a giant hamburger. Her character story also involves eating hamburgers as a plot point, and she even says hamburger in her sleep. Did I mention she's American? It looks like Kanada has discovered coffee. That should help her stay awake during the daytime. Setsuna poses in front of a crane, which is apparently there in real life too. All of the characters appear in front of real-life landmarks in Odaiba, which is a nice detail. Although I wonder why they chose a crane for Setsuna. It could have been the Gundam statue, since she likes anime. There's also this shot of Yu singing karaoke. It's another shot that's a little silly, but I like it. The costume designs are pretty good. I think the skirt designs are a little too busy, but besides that I like the winter wear theme. I've seen a ton of fan art for this segment, specifically for Shiriko. I think it's because she's a stoic and formal character doing this. Not complaining though. This opening also addresses a complaint I had with Nijiro Passions. The Season 1 OP used a lot of still images, which made the opening feel choppy. In Colorful Dreams Colorful Smiles, there's almost always something moving on screen and the characters move around a lot. I appreciate that because it makes the music video more fun to watch. They still used solid color backgrounds in the character introduction shots, but the animated shadows help make the shots feel more like an aesthetic choice. This also applies to the animated text on the still shots they used in the chorus. Like I said in the opening of this segment, I'm ranking this as my favorite Love Live OP to date. The Niji units were a good addition to the anime. It's something new, since School Idol Project and Sunshine didn't feature any performances from their subunits. The formation of courts was also a good opportunity to give Emma some more spotlight in the story, and bring in new character dynamics the Niji anime hasn't explored yet. The stage during the chorus is interesting because it's a blend of natural and digital imagery. It's a projection of an outdoor landscape, but you can see the pixelation on the screen behind them. So it's a fantasy environment, but not going fully imaginary. The song also cuts away from the stage for a moment, showing the audience clapping along. The point being that Quartz is connecting and interacting with the audience. I also like how you can see the height difference between the characters when their 3D models are lined up next to each other. But I have a few nitpicks with this Insert song's visuals. Part of the chorus uses these full-screen block letters created out of images of the characters. It leaves some odd black spacing on the screen, which I don't think looks very good. I also think that Enjoy It, and the unit songs in general, make too many All-Stars references. I like when the Insert songs have their own visual identity, and having too many disconnected scenes can make the music videos feel unfocused. This last one isn't a nitpick, just an observation. There's a large symbol that appears in the song. Since they included it, I'm guessing it means something, but I don't know what it stands for, and I've seen nobody talk about it online. Have any ideas? I didn't have a lot to say about Neo Sky Neo Map in my Season 1 video, but the song has grown on me over time. There was one comment on the Reddit that stood out to me. They said hearing the piano rendition of Neo Sky Neo Map brought back their memories of late 2020. It's interesting how music can do that. Personally for me, watching Niji Season 1 was one of the best parts of 2020. It's a special memory from that time. I'm a fan of the camera work in this one, like how the camera swoops down when moving across the audience, and the full loop it does near the end. Lots of fun shot ideas, like the low-angle one here or the zoom-in on Karin. It makes the music video fun to watch. The integration between the CGI and 2D animation has gotten stronger over the years. For example, the part of the preview where it quickly swaps between 2D and 3D animation. It's quite seamless, even keeping continuity for Ai's position behind Karin. Sunrise and Sublimation must have a good workflow for collaborating, since I can see these shots being hard to line up. Also, the retro-futurist spaceship aesthetic is a unique idea for the stage. It's a stylish music video, which makes it my favorite out of the unit songs this season. They got me here. Here's the part leading up to the chorus. The three of them appear on screen, then it goes to the chorus afterwards. But when the three of them are on screen here, these are 3D models. My first few times watching the Insert song, I didn't even notice. Their 3D CGI has gotten good enough that it slipped by me. At this point, it's easier to tell they're using CGI by looking at the environment around the characters. And speaking of the visuals, it's interesting how the stage magically deconstructs and reconstructs around them. Here's another interesting comment I found from Taiyou. I'm guessing that's how it's pronounced. I'll put it on screen here, but the TLDR is that Niji's Insert songs benefit from going wild with the cinematography, and using the 2D shots to convey information they can't show using the CGI dance scenes. Infinity Outwings is a variety song. It switches genres by passing the center of the song between Setsuna, Ayumu, and Shizuku. It works alright, but it also makes the song feel a little unfocused musically. The costumes are silly, on purpose. They're so over-designed and chaotic that they just about hit the Maryland point and circle around to being a-okay. Credit to the animators for giving Ayumu the bunny ears, although I wonder how her tiny hat and ears stay balanced on her head. One nitpick I have for the song is that the visual design of the bookends contrast heavily with the rest of the song. The darker colored fantasy cutaways look great, but they look a little too different from everything else. It's not a big deal, but I think it would have worked better as the main aesthetic of a different song, rather than just being a bookend. Let's step outside of idols for a second. Imagine that you have a dream. You want to be a writer, an actor, or an artist, but you decide not to pursue it. Being a dreamer is risky, so it's better to stick with what you know you're good at. Or at least, what you won't fail in. You avoid the consequences of failing, but you may also feel regret about not chasing your passion. You can tell in the song preview that Shioriko is somewhat depressed. She supports others who want to be school idols from the sidelines, but you can tell that she's not happy about ignoring her passion. And this is smartly represented with the unmoving clock that Shiriko is lifelessly staring at. At the end of the song, the color returns to her world and the clock starts moving again, unpausing this dream of hers she's kept frozen for the past few years. She's still a stoic person after this event, but you can tell she's happier. I can see this being one of the most relatable character stories from the Niji anime. Avoiding failure can be logical, but she's being too pragmatic, to the point that it sucks the fun out of her life. But she's able to move forward again after hearing that despite never accomplishing anything as a school idol, her older sister still values the experience, and doesn't have any regrets from trying. It's fitting that Shiriko's mind palace is represented by a library. Overall, the song uses strong and appropriate imagery to represent her character. It also features the return of the cage motif from Eutopia because Shiriko is struggling with a similar problem. She finds the key for the cage in a book, bookmarked by a blue feather. Previously in this franchise, the blue feather was associated with Aqua, but here I think it's meant to represent freedom from the cage, or finding your way, since she uses the key to fix the frozen clock. Normally, I would expect to like a mechanical clock stage for an idol song, but this one isn't clicking with me. Or should I say, sticking with me. I think it's the color design, mainly the brown gears plus the white and purple flooring. I also wasn't that into the song composition for Emotion. It's not bad, rather a song style that's not to my taste. But I like that they're experimenting with more musical styles, even if I like Shiriko's J-rock songs more. A gift for fans who have followed the Perfect Dream project since the beginning. The song is humble compared to most Niji anime songs in its imagery, but it has quality lighting, 2D animation segments, and camera work. Notably the no-cut camera in the chorus. In the anime, Yu wrote the song after realizing what she likes about seeing her friends' performances. It's not the music, the dancing, or the costumes. It's because they're her friends. It's the people behind the songs, finding a way to express themselves. Reflecting on my own experiences with Niji, one of the best parts of the project is the character-driven nature of the songs. The solos are abstract representations of who the characters are. Take Butterfly for example. You can tell Kanada's a mellow caretaker type through the piles of presents and soft background design. You can tell that Kasumi likes the cute side of idols while Setsuna likes the cool side. You can tell that Mia likes hamburgers through her burger song. Kidding, of course, but she is coming up next. The point is, the characters behind the performances are a major reason why the series works. It's also sweet that Yu wrote Tokimeki Runners as a response to Our Dreams Begin Here, which was a song the club wrote for Yu. And speaking of Yu, I like how she decided to express her love for music by playing the song's piano backing. They even recreated her hands shaking a bit before playing, like Hinako Yano's did when she was playing the piano at Niji's Real Life 3rd Live. My top wishlist item for the second season was Naoya Nakayama and the team making another artsy and cinematic music video like they did with Butterfly. The environments are great in this one. The song starts out in a confined space, followed by a dark and misty room filled with hanging cages. One might say it's a little on the nose, but I think it looks cool. I also like how Lanzu and Shiriko had dark hellscape scenes at some point in their insert songs too. After this, it moves to a nice looking shot of the open sky, moving the song from a confined space to a very open one. The main stage for the song also gave me a strong sense of openness. Nakayama's penchant for shrinking the aspect ratio also helped in giving this feeling. There's the return of the bird and key symbolism, fitting that the song features open skies in its second half. Also symbolically fitting that the song was performed at an airport. I also have some anti-nitpicks for the scene I showed in the song preview. The sky shot is lovely, and I like the accompanying lyrics referencing how Mia's dreams returned back to her after Lanzu said she wouldn't sing Mia's songs for her anymore. Shuichida's vocals were also good. Then there's the zooming shot after that. Credit to the animation team for having the camera zoom in while Mia is moving. and animating her using traditional 2D animation in the scene in a shot that looks a lot easier to do in CGI. Stars Who Chase has some of the most inspired direction out of the songs this season, although I can see some people not liking the music because of the odd grammar, autotune, and millennial looping. It's a sweet moment. Just the characters hanging out and having a good time. A piano rendition of one of their older songs is also a good way to make the montage feel nostalgic, for people who have been fans of Niji since before the anime. Well, that sets the franchise record for the most insert songs in one episode. I'm not going to talk about all of them, only the ones where I have something to say. I'm grouping together all of the short songs into one segment for convenience, starting with Queendom. This one was from a few episodes back. It's an ideal song for a cameo because it already has a music video in All Stars, so we aren't missing much when the show cuts away from it, besides the new animation. I like Yimingzu. Something in the vocal processing of the song makes Moto's voice sound scratchy, and I like how that sounds when paired with aggressive EDM for some reason. We get to see Emma's family back in Switzerland, which is a nice Easter egg. Imagine being one of Emma's parents. It's time to bring your 9 children to the grocery store. How about airport security? I like how Reina has enough confidence to perform without her board now. And credit to the animators for remembering her blank facial expression, since that's the reason why she initially wore the board in the first place. I find it amusing that Toy Doll exists, the whole premise of the song, along with Mia being the one to sing it. Not to be greedy for more songs, but it is disappointing that Rebirth are the only Niji unit that didn't get a new insert song this season. Knowing their existing songs, like Monster Girls and Vroom Vroom, I think the Niji team could have made a cool music video for them. It's understandable they couldn't fit it in this season, but it's odd since the 3 of them went on stage together, and the official Love Live YouTube channel put out trailers just featuring the 3 of them in the week leading up to the final episode. Audrey is one of my favorite Love Live songs. I like Kaori Maeda's vocals, the instrumental, and the sad premise of the song. I mentioned it in my last video, but Solitude Rain is a great sequel to Audrey, lyrically. The rolling film background is a cool shot, and I like how they included the rain jackets, like in the live performances. I also like this shot that lines up with the lyric about becoming a great actress. My interpretation of the original context is that she's talking about both becoming a stage actress and figuratively becoming an actress to hide her sadness from others. While here it's a celebratory shot with a more uplifting tone, stating that she has become a great actress. We get to see Setsuna kickflip a microphone stand, which is in character. More people from her non-idol life also came to see her, including her mom and some of the student council. It's only appropriate I bring this up now while Setsuna has the floor. For those who don't know, Setsuna's voice actress Tamori is retiring from the franchise due to her health problems. It's notable because she's the first Love Live seiyuu to retire from an active group. The voice of Setsuna is going to be recast, but I can see some fans not accepting the replacement due to how closely the characters in Taiyou are linked in this franchise. But I think the biggest tragedy is that Tamori's health problems are incurable, and at the time of announcement, she was only 22 years old, which is really young to have health issues bad enough that she had to retire from the role. On screen, you're seeing responses from the other Nijigasaki, which were very thoughtful of them. Continuing on, I like how they made an entire mini concert for the season finale. It felt like an event that went on for a good amount of time. There are a lot of stills in the concert, likely due to the production constraints, but I think the animators managed their constraints better here than in the previous season. They spaced the stills out and used a lot of crowd shots, which makes the stills less noticeable than in the previous season finale. By the way, I liked the animations they had playing behind the characters. They're fitting for the people performing in front of them, like Kasumi's Wonderland, Emma's Mountain Landscape, or the loop of eyes clapping hand character symbol. My favorite is Aimu's heart and flower background, which is super cutesy, but I like the way it looks a lot. Shiriko's stage also had feathers in the air, which is a neat reference back to the bird symbolism from her character song. It's another good group song to send off the season, and with Future Parade being the final Season 2 include song, here are the official YouTube channel statistics. You can tell a certain song dominated this season, but returning back to Future Parade, there's a ton of detail around the stage, and the production elements like the lighting and 3D character models continue to be great. Poses from the live performances were integrated into the song's choreography, which is a neat Easter egg for fans who have watched or attended the real-life concerts. In the second chorus, various locations around the world are shown. These are the cities where the first Niji Life was broadcast to in real life, which is another neat Easter egg. They even included a reference to the world-renowned large mall in the Philippines. It's a sweet moment when the camera moves over to show you playing the piano backstage behind them. Before the song started, you received her first fan mail and a thoughtful bouquet of some dead-looking flowers. She's not just a fan. By this point, the music she's written has reached others. From the initial spark of inspiration from seeing Setsuna perform in episode 1, Yu has gone on to become an inspiration herself. She may not be singing and dancing on stage, but in her own way, she too has become a school idol. One doesn't have to be a stage performer to connect with and inspire others. You can be a school idol too. Pun intended. It was a strong follow-up to the first season. The music videos continued to be some of Love Live's best, and there was a truckload of references and fun bits for the fans. It was a very slice-of-life season, arguably the least dramatic season Sunrise has made up to this point, of Love Live. Probably not of everything Sunrise has made, since they've made a lot of stuff. Personally, I would have preferred if there was more of a main plot connecting the episodes together, while also having the character vignettes and slice-of-life scenes. They also could have gone a little more in depth with some of the storylines, like with Misato's depression or Lanzu's backstory. Some viewers were also critical of the season for speedrunning its subplots, which caused them to feel underexplored as a result. Although that's mostly due to the format limitation, since they had to divide a relatively short runtime between a large central cast. Nitpicks aside, the Niji anime team has continued to do a great job with the show. They clearly have a lot of love for the material they adapted. The ethos behind the Niji anime is essentially the adaptation team yelling "We love you" at both the characters and the fans of the franchise. That's a big part of why the anime has been received so well by many Love Live fans. Making this video was a lot of fun, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, everyone.